his final message, Mr. Rogers made it a point to express how grateful he was and how much he liked us for who we were.
But I would like to tell you what I often told you when you were much younger. I like you just the way you are.
He would pass away a few
Yo,
months.
why am I, I've only done like 4 or 5 reactions to this guy, yeah? And why am I starting to feel the type of way when he says that? Like, the more I'm just starting to discover Mr. Rogers again, like someone who I didn't know who existed like 2 weeks ago, and just how much he's impacted my life from the moment I knew him from the moment that is today is crazy to think about. Top 10 Mr. Rogers moments that will make you nostalgic. Now, for me, this is going to be a whole new world for the most part, but I'm sure I would love to see how much this makes a lot of you guys watching nostalgic. Obviously, a lot of you guys have been loving me checking out this Mr. Rogers rabbit hole, so we're going to check out this one. I recently just dropped my reaction to Won't You Be My Neighbor documentary. That's coming out soon on the Patreon. By the time you're watching this, it probably will be out. So for those guys that want to get exclusive bonus content from me, get those movie reactions, album reviews, sitcom reviews, some classic 70s and 80s shows and movies and stuff, then I'll put them on the screen. Definitely consider checking that out. Link to Patreon will be in the description, as well as that Mr. Rogers documentary for those of you guys that want to check that out. I know a lot of you guys wanted to see my reaction to that. I cannot post that one on YouTube because it just will get absolutely blocked. But yeah, for those guys who want to see it, it's on the Patreon. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video before you subscribe to the channel, guys. Turn on those push notifications. I'm not cutting that out. Like the video as well, and let me know what other things you guys want me to check out. But look, guys, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
Won't you be our neighbor? Welcome to Ms. Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Mr. Rogers moments.
Because deep down, we know that what matters in this life
I don't think I've seen this.
is more than winning for ourselves.
Oh.
What really matters is helping others win too.
Before we begin,
Jesus.
we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Shout out to Miss Mojo. Links to the original video, guys, will be in the description. It's coming from the Ms. Mojo channel. Shout out to them. I've seen a few videos on them so far. Again, always got to give the plug, man.
We're looking at all those heartwarming moments that made Fred Rogers such a huge influence in so many children's lives. He introduced us to everything from astronauts to gorillas to crayons to puppets.
Or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Al Warden. You mean you actually took it? I actually carried that with me.
Wow, was that a letter
Number
from
10,
when he was young?
when he
Or am I
said
tripping?
goodbye. After decades producing his show, Mr. Rogers recorded what would be one of his last videos at the WQED studio.
I'm just so proud of all of you who have grown up with us. And I know how tough it is some days to look with hope and confidence on the months and years ahead.
This message was for all of us who'd grown up with him, and for all those children he hoped we would encourage and keep safe.
And to help them express their feelings in ways that will bring healing in many different neighborhoods.
In his final message, Mr. Rogers made it a point to express how grateful he was and how much he liked us for who we were.
But I would like to tell you what I often told you when you were much younger. I like you just the way you are.
He would pass away a few
Yo,
months.
why am I, I've only done like 4 or 5 reactions to this guy, yeah? And why am I starting to feel the type of way when he says that? Like, I didn't even grow up with this man. I can't imagine how you guys are feeling when he did that last episode or last goodbye, whatever. So yeah, man, just to hear him say those words, like, that is gonna get me emotional, man. I don't even know him like that. I don't even know him like that.
I like you just the way you are.
He would pass away a few months later of stomach cancer, and the neighborhood would never feel quite the same again.
Stomach cancer.
It's such a good feeling to know that we're lifelong friends.
Number 9, when he showed us how to make crayons.
That just makes your heart
Thought
melt.
about people making crayons.
It's easy to take things for granted in our fast-paced lives. We tend to overlook things as we rush to grow up, but Mr. Rogers had a gift for slowing things down a bit and getting us to see the magic all around us.
He did.
And after that, people put in the pigment, which is like colored flour.
In this episode, he takes us through the process of creating crayons.
Now watch
Oh, wow.
the crayons come into those crayon collectors.
Mr.
That was
Rogers
magical.
always had a way of making complex processes simpler and easier for us to understand. This mesmerizing episode taught us that even common, everyday objects could have a fascinating story behind them, and that if we looked close enough, the world was filled with colors. Number 8, when he talked about divorce. In the 1980s, America was...
Just a quick announcement. I'm in the works of trying to get a full reaction to one of Mr. Rogers' episodes, because I know a lot of you guys want to see. I was just surprised, to be fair, at how many of you guys wanted to see. I thought maybe because it was like, you know, it's when you guys were younger, maybe you wouldn't want to watch it now. But look, if you guys want to get a flashback to down memory lane, I would love to check it out. I'll most likely be posting it on the Patreon, but I will see if I can try and post a clip on YouTube. I probably have to cut things out because it probably will get blocked, but I'll try my best. If not, it will 100% go on the Patreon. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments below.
Experiencing a sharp rise.
Because I would love to check out a video.
When Mr. Rogers learned
I have not seen any. All I've seen is clips so far of him off the show and talking about it. So I would love to see a full episode.
He realized how hard it must be for the children going through this experience.
I don't think
colors. Number 8, when he talked about divorce. In the 1980s, America was experiencing a sharp rise in divorce.
Really?
When Mr. Rogers learned of this, he realized how hard it must be for the children going through this experience.
I can imagine.
I don't think they love each other anymore, but I know my daddy loves me, and my mommy loves me too.
He knew that children often blamed themselves for their parents' divorce.
That's so true.
He decided to dedicate several episodes to the topic.
They thought it was all their fault. But of course it wasn't their fault.
It was an unusual and powerful moment in children's television. Other shows often ignore complex and difficult topics like this, but Mr. Rogers went at it head-on in his own gentle way. By doing so, he helped ease the hearts of many children across the country.
If they get a divorce, or if they don't get a divorce, they'll still be your mom and dad. Nothing changes that.
Number 7, when he met Coco the gorilla.
That's just, come on, man. You know, and he did talk about some serious topics. Even when I was watching the documentary, some of the topics he was going into, and just his sense of justice and the conviction he had to kind of be that medium for the kids, man. Because even nowadays, I feel like it's so common. It's so common, and you know, that can definitely have an impact on children. So yeah, man, like for him to do an episode on that kind of stuff, those hard topics, that's big, man, because he doesn't need to do it, and it's not that common that kids shows do that.
Number 7,
even now,
when he met Coco the gorilla.
Ears.
And we both have ears.
Ears.
And we both have noses and eyes.
Coco, or Hanabiko, is a western lowland gorilla who became widely known to the public for having learned a simple form of sign language.
Wow.
And also for her love of cats. She was taught by the animal psychologist Francine Patterson to understand nearly 2,000 words of English and sign around 1,000 herself. When Coco met Mr. Rogers, she told him what we all felt, that she loved it when he visited.
Love you.
Oh,
She said, love you, visit, love.
that is, man. Even the animals.
That was very nice.
Thank you, Coco.
She loves her visitors.
So that's the concept.
It was a sweet moment between two of the best any species had to offer.
There's Mr. Rogers.
Right.
Bear.
Number 6,
Shout
when he
out
was
to
inducted
Coco,
into the
man.
TV Hall of Fame.
It doesn't matter what our particular job. We are chosen to help meet the deeper needs of those who watch and listen.
In 1999,
Oh,
Fred
Jeff.
Rogers was inducted into the Television Academy Hall of Fame. To
Jeff,
introduce him,
that
the
clip.
Academy brought on one of Mr. Rogers' old guests, Jeffrey
That's a
Erlanger.
On
throwback.
behalf of millions of children and grown-ups, it is you that I like.
We'll talk more about him later on our list,
stop.
but suffice it to say that Mr. Rogers was overcome with joy to see his old friend. So much so, in fact, that he practically leaped onto the stage to hug and greet him.
Yeah, he almost
During his
tripped as well.
speech,
Like even when he got on that stage, you could tell he was excited because he literally almost tripped. And imagine if Mr. Rogers fell down. You know, he probably. But then again, he would have got back up and got right into it because it just shows how genuine that man was. That is a. And then every time I see this clip, now that I know a bit more the context of it, it just, man. If I start thinking about it too much, I get emotional, man.
Say that Mr. Rogers was overcome with joy to see his old
I
friend.
might start getting a tear in my eye.
So much so, in fact, that he practically leaped onto the stage to hug and greet him. During his speech, Mr. Rogers asked us all to take 10 seconds to think about those people who had loved and encouraged us in our lives.
Either here or in heaven. Imagine how pleased those people must be to know that you thought of them right now.
If the audience wasn't already crying, they were now.
No, guys, no. Honestly, I'm going to do those 10 seconds right now. And I want you guys to join in with me. We're going to do 10 seconds to think about someone that has significantly influenced us in our lives, who's done a Mr. Rogers moment for us in our lives. Let's take a 10 second. I've never done this in a video before, but tribute to Mr. Rogers. Okay, I thought about my one. Let me know what you guys thought about in the comments below. I thought about my mom there, and wow, I can't believe I just did that, but that's a big moment right there. Because you know these videos as well, it's you always got to try, you always want to try and like make it quick, or you want to fill the noise, you don't want to leave the silence. But as a tribute to Mr. Rogers, we have to do those 10 seconds. Just have to.
5. When he talked
Only for
about
Mr.
violence
Rogers.
and shootings.
There are people in the world who are so sick or so angry that they sometimes hurt other people.
Children are tragically
talk.
so often the victims of violence, but they're seldom asked their thoughts about it. In this poignant segment, especially in our era, Mr. Rogers speaks to several school children about some of the violence and shootings they've seen on television.
But how do you think anybody gets to be a murderer?
That's serious.
Maybe they're lonely.
Lonely?
It's a deep moment when we realize that
deep.
these kids are being given a voice in this matter for the first time. Mr. Rogers goes on to advise us,
I didn't
in
even
dark
know.
moments when terrible things are happening on TV, to always look for the people helping and find comfort in that.
Always look for the people who are helping, she'd tell us.
Some solid
You'll
advice.
always find somebody who's trying to help.
Shout out to the
We
mom.
certainly found it comforting to know that he was there to help us.
What children probably need to hear most from us adults is that they can talk with us about anything, and that we will do all we can to keep them safe.
Number 4, when he buried a pet
Damn.
fish. If we've learned anything about Mr. Rogers, it's that he isn't afraid to tackle difficult subjects when talking to children.
He definitely
In this
isn't.
episode, he tries to revive a fish who's passed away.
What?
When it doesn't come back to life,
Oh, no.
we're left watching the poor thing float upside down. In
No
classic
way.
Mr. Rogers fashion, he takes the opportunity to teach us some important lessons about death. He even relates a gut-wrenching story about him and his childhood dog.
Oh,
We're thankful that
He
Mr.
did
Rogers had
that.
the courage to help us understand the complicated subject that death is.
no way. No, I gotta say this, yeah. When I was 4 years old, my granddad passed away. Rest in peace to him. Rest in peace. But when I was 4 years old, he died. And that was the first time I had ever came into contact with the idea of not being alive forever. Like when I was young, I used to think, a literal kid, I used to think that people live forever. And when I found out people could pass away, like that was a big blow to me. That was a big blow to me. Actually, and ironically enough, he passed away like not too long after. I remember being in reception, so this is like kindergarten, and my teacher says that, yeah, you know, people don't live forever, just so blankly like that. And I remember I was just staring at my teacher, just so like blank faced, like shocked and sad. And honestly, that concerned me for like a good month. Like I started having like sort of like mad anxiety, especially after when I started I'm just imagining now if I had Mr. Rogers in that moment, just how much that could have saved a lot of trauma, man, because that took me a while to even get past that whole concept.
3. When he invited Officer Clemens to share a pool with him.
It looks awfully enjoyable, but I don't have a towel or anything.
Oh, you share mine.
This is an iconic moment.
Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood began airing in the 1960s, a time of deep racial tensions in the United States, and it was for this reason that Mr. Rogers approached African-American actor and singer Francois Clemens to portray a police officer on his show. Mr. Rogers knew that Clemens could be a positive figure for children, even if Clemens himself had misgivings.
But sometimes just a minute like this will really make a difference.
This was
Later
a
in the series,
monumental.
Mr. Rogers made it a point to share a pool and sing Many Ways to Say I Love You with Officer Clemens, because he knew what a vital issue overcoming segregation was.
That was big.
You'll find many ways
Beautiful
to say
voice.
I love you. You'll find many ways to understand what love is.
Number 2, when he sang
no,
with
please,
Jeff
not this
Erlanger.
clip. Not this clip.
I do.
Not your fancy chair. That's just beside you.
You'll remember Jeff from Mr. Rogers' induction into the Television Academy Hall of Fame. In this episode, he was just a young child.
Jeff, your mom and dad must be really proud of you.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah. Well, I know I am.
It's a sad fact that we can often react negatively when we see someone who's different from us.
I had
That's facts, man.
a tumor, and it broke the nerves to tell my hands and legs what to do.
Of course, Mr. Rogers knows this, so he goes out of his way to introduce us to Jeff, who is disabled and in a wheelchair.
That it's you I like. It's you yourself.
It's you.
He takes away the fear of meeting someone so different by asking him some simple questions. Seeing this open and honest approach to humanity should serve as a lesson to us all.
Real talk.
We have to all discover our own ways, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Of doing things when we're feeling blue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling blue right now, though.
Me neither.
Before we unveil our number 1.
No, because that is so mad, you know. Like, even that lesson of just letting people know that they're important or they're special just the way they are type thing. Like that, I remember vividly. This is actually bringing back memories. I remember as a kid, like thinking, because I don't look like other people, like I was thinking, is there something wrong with me? Like literally things like that you don't even know how to articulate or like comprehend at the time. And like these are some big things, and you know, I'm sure probably, you know, some of you guys watching, maybe when you were young, maybe went through some similar or different things that Mr. Rogers would have helped you get through. But yeah, man, and feel free to comment down below if you guys are feeling, if that's okay, you know what I'm saying, to share some stories. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to that kind of stuff, because these are some real topics that Mr. Rogers went over. And just seeing that Jeff clip as well when he was young, he's like, you know, had a horrible thing happen to him when he's such a young age, but then having this moment with Mr. Rogers, like imagine like what that would have done for him, and then to see him come on again when he's a lot older, like that's just so heartwarming, man.
Pick. Here are some honorable mentions.
Mr. Rogers? What do you think about hugging big birds?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Well, here's your big chance.
He went on the
Moonwalking.
Moonwalk?
Mm-hmm.
He went on Sesame Street.
Like, put your foot like this.
I need to see that.
Then you push back. Then you push back.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
like
Michael
that. You got it?
Jackson
Yeah.
moonwalk.
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
I know I can tell you one thing. 1, 4, 3. I love you. I'll be back next time. Bye.
Number 1. When he defended PBS to the Senate.
Looks like you
iconic.
just earned the $20 million.
In
Iconic.
1969, President Nixon was proposing major funding cuts to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and PBS. Fred Rogers had always felt that television had a unique power to educate and nurture children, and had made it his mission to show the good of humanity on his show, rather than the lowbrow stuff that was commonly on TV.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country.
For this reason, he was compelled to appear before the United States Senate Subcommittee on Communications to try and save public broadcasting.
That's
and
what
I
I'd be
feel
like.
that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health.
In classic
Amen.
Mr. Rogers style, he convinced the committee members to actually increase the funding. And he did it by reading them a song.
Know that there's
Yeah.
something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
The more I'm just starting to discover Mr. Rogers again, like someone who I didn't know who existed like 2 weeks ago, and just how much he's impacted my life from the moment I knew him from the moment that is today is crazy to think about. And I think that is just, again, so wholesome to even, and to see the effect that he can still have to this day on someone like myself, who was born way after like he was really doing his thing on, you know, his show. And unfortunately after he passed, rest in peace to him. And it can still have like a universal, like anyone from probably anywhere can get these kinds of messages, and it can hit them, and in any generation it can hit. I've seen clips of kids even younger than myself reacting to Mr. Rogers and having an almost similar impacts. I'm sure a lot of you guys would have had, and it just goes to show like the kind of legacy that he left behind, just the impact that he would have had on so many people, millions probably around the world. But then again, he wouldn't even think about it like that, because he always wanted to think of people, of the one-to-one intimate connection he was making with the person watching. That's what he was thinking about when he was doing these, like, and that's just so beautiful to see, man. But yeah, guys, look, let me know what you guys thought of this reaction. Comment down a yellow heart, because that's the hearts we've been going for these Mr. Rogers reactions. It will also let me know who my real ones are who made it to this point, or hashtag flex for those guys that are still struggling with emojis. And yeah, guys, like I said, let me know who significantly helped you in your life. Who did you think of in that 10-second silence? And how did Mr. Rogers impact you? And did any of these clips bring back any specific memories for you guys? Yeah. Well, cool, guys. I love this video again. This has made my day. I've been your boy JayFlex. This has been me checking out top 10 Mr. Rogers moments that will make you nostalgic. And for those guys that made this point, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.